Teaching have you stressed? Need to laugh off that disaster of a parent-teacher conference? Ready to indulge in those I wish I could say that moments? You're in luck, because you've just pressed play on the top-rated teacher comedy podcast on the planet. It's time for Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Here's your host, the teacher comedian himself, Devin Seabold.
Hey guys. Welcome, Crying in My Car, podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Seabold, and I've got my good buddy, Mr. Greg, the Angry Texan Parrot, in the house. Good to see you, buddy.
Hello.
Long time no see. How you been?
Oh, man, it's just been rough. This second wave of COVID is just messing everybody's schedule up.
Well, yeah, as a comedian and as a, former teacher, I can tell you I've seen the impact firsthand for sure. Shout out to all the teachers, by the way. We'll get to the first day stuff because in this area, and in most of Florida, today was the first day of school. I've got some stories already for some happenings there. I know that my, hello, Zach online. Thank you for supporting. Zach's a podcast Patreon subscriber. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get awesome little perks, including some videos ahead of time, which I have 2 new videos coming out this week. Shout out to Michael, Kelly, Donna, Andrea, and Todd, new Patreon subscribers over on Crying in My Car's Patreon. And it's an interesting time to be alive, isn't it? We've got COVID kind of full scale ravaging politics being tossed back and forth. And then here our teachers and our kids are in the middle of it. And I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what to make of all of it, except to tell you that if you want some safe entertainment this Thursday, I will be at an outdoor comedy show in Winter Haven, Florida, that is outside where you are seated away from people in an open air venue. If you want to enjoy some comedy without the COVID, that would be fun. It's this Thursday in Winter Haven, Florida. Also, my Michigan dates changed. I'm not with Joe D in Michigan. I'm going to be with Adam Ferrara in Michigan. So like 2 weeks later, I'll post those updated dates shortly for those of you that are wanting to go to that. It'll be an awesome show. Now, so first day of school, man. First day, I've got kids, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Dude, I have it on mute. It's on, dude, the volume is all the way down. How has that happened?
I don't know, bud. I don't know. My
phone is cursed.
I'm not going to lie. I was about to go live on Facebook, and then Greg called to tell me he was on his way. And I was like, great, we can have numerous interruptions during the show. I appreciate it.
I had it all the way down. I said, well,
it's the Cowboys hat. Sure. Everything fails when you're in a Cowboys hat.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So here's the deal. It was first day of school today. And let me tell you what, it's been a little hectic, obviously. I think it's, very poorly planned. I think everywhere is very poorly planned. Principals, teachers trying to do what they can, ever-changing, guidance from politics on both sides, just a battle with our kids in the middle, unknowns, mask, no mask, all sorts of questions being asked. And yet here we are, school back in, fully in here. It was all fully in here before, but now we've got the Delta variant, which obviously we're seeing is a trend towards the kids, which is not good. And we're having a little bit of a spike in pediatric cases, not good. And then obviously we have the debate of mask, no mask teachers. The school, that in the county that I'm at, very, very, very politically driven county. We've had debates on masks and stuff like that. I posted yesterday, true story. Every county in Florida is starting to enact mask mandates with the option to opt out. My particular county, I had to write a letter to opt in. To mask mandates. I don't know. I can't. I mean, I just don't know. I'm at loss for words. I will say this. Lots of parents dropping off their kids today. I did see a lot of masks, which is good. I saw a lot of protection. Did see some teachers without masks. The kids are at stake now. If you're vaccinated, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and judge. I know there's, but I also am not going to sit here and let my kids be, science experiments either, and have somebody's political beliefs, put them in the ER. That's not going to be cool with me. I'll get to an interesting story on this later in this podcast. But the one thing I did see today that made my blood boil, bro.
If it's DeSantis.
No, it had nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with masks.
Oh.
Okay. Line for dropping off children expected the first day. Exceedingly long. I'm talking at least 2 miles worth of line. That's not an exaggeration. It was down onto Dundee Road. If you know anything about the area, it was down almost to Buckeye Loop.
Oh, wow.
To turn. Now that's 2 miles about. I got in line early. I went the back way. I was smart. We only had to wait about 15 minutes. Okay. We're getting ready to pull up. And, I pull all the way up. Hey, bye, kids. Hand them their backpack. Love you guys. Have a great day. Here's your name tag. Here's where you go. You guys got this. Bye, Dad. Love you. I look in front. I'm ready to go. There's a van in front of me, bro. The parents got out of the van in the car loop with their children, handing their children their backpack. They start taking photos in the car loop with the children, hugging, kissing, photos, going through the backpack, handing the lunchbox, making sure the collar is right, talking to each other.
No.
Bro, every single teacher in that car line was going, no, in the car, move, in the car. You've never seen people so entitled in your entire life that ignored everything being yelled at them. They did not stop. They kept taking photos. They changed cameras and said, okay, now you. And I'm dead serious. Just a full-on photo session in the car loop. A mile or two of cars behind. Nobody is moving. And there are teachers a foot away going, get in your car and move the car now. This is not allowed. They ignored them. I mean, you want to, folks, listen to me. During this live broadcast on Facebook, you can send stars. You can also subscribe to Patreon. I'm making you a promise right now. If $30,000 is subscribed to on Patreon or pledged on Facebook, I will buy a monster truck. I will park on the side of the line. I will wait until they are in the car loop and right up front.
Easy.
I will wait till everybody has exited the car and then I will run it over.
You watch that old Stone Cold clip.
I will crush it and just keep going. I will just destroy this vehicle for all of us to clap and applaud and be happy. And
it has to say angry Texan or angry teacher 316 on the side.
Teacher 316. Yeah, it does. And then I get out and I just stand on the hood and I smash beers.
Yeah, and then you get tased. And then I Patreons, the money will also go to his bail and legal counsel.
Let me tell you, $30,000. I'll do it. I'm telling you, I was never so livid in my life watching this. And also, we almost died on the way. Some lady blew through a stop sign and then gets in the car line. She had a kid in the car. And of course it says on the back, I'll give you a guess. What do you think it said on the back?
Live, laugh, love.
No, close though. Princess on board.
Oh,
so for $40,000. No,
that's just like any woman over 25 that wears a tiara on her birthday. I try to avoid you for a month.
Somebody said my monster truck will make the car line worse. And you're probably right, but it will make my life better.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters at this point.
I never asked Angelina how her first day. She'll take a picture of the boys or whatever, but she's that mom. All right, let's go, and give me hugs, and then she's off. My dad, if I would have been in that line, my parents would have been like, All right, we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
There you go. Just walk the rest of the way.
That's the thing, man. It's just there were some parents trying to walk their kids to class, obviously not allowed with COVID, and obviously safety procedures too. You got a bunch of strangers walking the halls. You don't know who's who. You drop off your kid, you got a long walk back. There's a strange grown man walking past a whole bunch of wandering kindergartners. That's not safe. And
it is so weird because it's
weird.
A different time.
It's a different time, but I'm okay with it.
I was
I've got
8 years
kids in this
old
time.
walking home from school. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
I think it was like the first or second grade I started walking home from school. I mean, I didn't live that dang far, but
right. I'll tell you right now, I rode my bike to school when I was in 6th grade. And my friend Mike and I used to hang out with this guy that was homeless and lived in the woods. And we used to go into his tent and we used to hang out. Luckily, the guy was cool. But I was a 12-year-old boy hanging out in a homeless man's tent in the woods.
Yeah, that's probably.
If my parents knew, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
this guy was really weird. This guy, and this is a true story, by the way. He lived in the woods by this railroad track in a nice tent. I mean, he had nice everything. His thing was he was way ahead of the curve, man. He was super conspiracy theory, hated the government, didn't want to pay taxes, wanted to lay off the grid, didn't trust anybody. Like my friend Mike was like, dude, he's got serious money like hidden in the woods. Like he just didn't trust the government. He didn't want anything to do with them. And the guy was as nice as can be. He'd be like, hey fellas, how was school today? We'd be like, great, man. He'd be like, cool. He's like, you guys going fishing this afternoon? I'd be like, yeah, we're going to go down to the cast net and see what we can get, and he'd be like, awesome, man. You guys have a good day. And then he would go back in his tent and be like, I can't stay out too long. The satellites will pick me up. I mean, like he had this like mentality that the government wanted to find this man.
You're all like, there's money in this woods. Like, we'll bring him some candy laced with sodium pentothal and see if we can get the truth serum out of him.
I know. I wonder too, if something ever happened to him, if there really is money in the woods. But there was a really cool like motorbike trail. There was all sorts of weird stuff in this wooded area, and people like hung out there and lived there. And my parents didn't know it was a shortcut to school. We used to always go through there, and that was it, And it was neat, but I used to ride my bike to school, 12 years old, and my parents didn't think anything of it, but I was on major highways, crossing roads and going past, and again, different times, I guess.
Yeah,
different times.
And the thing is, now these boys that I'm inheriting, they love school, but as soon as school's over and they're at home or like they're in school, this whole last year they've been virtual. Now they're actually in the classroom. Angelina, there's things going on with, her ex. And since we bought this house, the kids are going to be farther from the dad. And he's, so we're having them go to school, I guess, one more time up where they're at, which is, it's a charter school. It is what it is. They don't really like it because, but they try to get educated. They want to learn, and they're smart kids.
Good.
It's just one of them is. I guarantee if we try to do the virtual again, it'd be like heck no, because he would have little windows up on his laptop, and I'm looking over, and I was like, "Are you playing video games?"
Yeah,
like,
well, that's the thing, man. My kids are too young for that. I tried the virtual thing for like 2 weeks, and it did not work. I mean, and it was, even with parental involvement, I've got one kid borderline ADHD, and then the other one is just the exact opposite. No motivation. I mean, their energy levels could not be any more different. So I've got one that's motivated to do anything and everything and just can't focus, and the other one that's so demotivated that it's just, I don't really care. And so, but in school, both of them focus, both of them do way better, and that's where it's awesome. But I do worry about community transmission. I worry about things that are going on in our community, because I'll tell you right now, there's some blatantly obvious things that I'm seeing. Some ticket sales on some comedy shows are drastically down. A lot of people not showing up. Not only that, but they were saying today, like spending, Chase Bank or one of them was saying on their credit cards, they've noticed spending on entertainment and outside food is way down these past 2 weeks as the variant has started to spread more. Taekwondo class. Love taking my kids Taekwondo. They love it. Normally packed, 60 plus kids, 50 parents, in a room. I wear a mask, and try to distance myself. Lately, last week, true story, 20 kids, 15 parents. I mean, and it's just, and dropping off. I mean, even, I'd sometimes go to the gym and I work out and my kids wear masks. We wear masks. We go to the gym, wear masks. And there's a little daycare center that they have there. And normally there's maybe 15, 20 kids in there. There was 3. That's including my 2 children. There was 1 other child in there. And that's at the gym. Normal time. Time has not changed. Doing our normal routine. And we're seeing a huge drop off and people getting out. And I don't know, but I will say this, my cousin works at the local hospital here. And I saw a post the other day. Their halls are full. Halls are full.
Yeah.
Beds in the hallway are all occupied.
Yeah, dude. It worries me. Don't get me wrong. I've got one of my employees caught it, but was away from all of us other employees on days off. And through contact tracing, realized on their next day off, which was our opening day, that they possibly had it and just said, "Hey, I'm staying away from work. I'm getting tested positive. They're doing fine." The owner of where I work is vaccinated. Him and his wife both got symptoms, got tested positive, but I also agree that, hey, had we not been vaxxed, this probably would have been bad because they're both in their 70s.
Yeah, and how'd they do? I mean,
they're
basically
good.
flu symptoms, they made it through.
Yeah, they're in the Keys right now, oddly enough.
There's just so much misconception out there. Oh, vaccines, I know somebody that got vaccinated that still got it. This is the thing, man. This is why we're having trouble with global warming is people go, hey, the overall temperature of the earth is rising. And people go, well, it's cold where I live. And you go, what? You're not getting the point. There's a community that exists outside of you and the people that you know.
Yeah.
Of course, there are going to be exceptions to the vaccination rule, but I'll tell you right now, I was in a room with Joe D, Mr. Dombrowski.
Yeah.
He got COVID. I am vaccinated. His manager is vaccinated. We did not get it. We stayed in a room with him for hours on end, talking 2 feet away from each other, hugged each other goodbye. He had COVID. I did not get it. I got fully tested. I got the rapid test and I got the lab test.
Yeah.
And did not get it. So, sitting here looking back, if I was not vaccinated, would I have got it? Most likely. Most likely. And, luckily, hopefully the vaccine continues to work in my body. And if I do get it, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But if I do get it, then, I have fairly good confidence that I'm not going to be in ICU and die because statistics show as a whole, I might get it as a whole. But as a whole, I also have a very little chance of actually having something serious occur, and I like those odds.
Yeah, all that misinformation out there is what's hurting this whole
very
thing.
Dangerous, and it's man, and it's not only dangerous, but I think people should be accountable. I watched the news this morning. I won't say what I watched. I'm not going to get political, but I did watch the news, and some of the things they were saying were steering people in certain directions, and I watched it and I was like, but they're sitting there talking and they're giving opinions now, and they're on nationally televised news and they're giving opinions, and these opinions are being presented as facts, and the people watching are being manipulated and given this idea that they should be this or they should do that, and this is the way it all works out, and then they make these life decisions based on the misinformation, the opinion, and they die, or they get somebody else in their family dies, or they wind up in ICU. And I don't see how those people on TV are not being held accountable for the things that they're saying. If you or I go into a movie theater and it's crowded and you stand up and you yell fire, and people start to run for the exit, somebody gets hurt, somebody dies, there's a big stampede, you go to jail. It's a felony. Yeah. It's literal felony to yell fire in a movie theater. Why is it not a felony to go on national TV and say misleading or inappropriate, not misleading, unverifiable information, and guide people, to an exit door that is going to kill them? And that's fine. That makes no sense. There has to be logic here, and we're not following it. We're not following it. It just makes no sense why these people are not accountable for what they say. And if you just make an example out of one, just hold one journalist accountable, and then maybe journalism will change. That's the thing, is it'll stop being this yellow journalism. You just one, make an example out of one person, and unfortunately they don't hold any of them accountable, and then they say these things, and you don't even have real journalists on TV anymore. You have personalities, and people think that those are journalists, and they're.
And I love it when they're on there and they call themselves a journalist. I'm like, oh, so you went to college and studied.
Yeah.
All
right, so let's go into teachers in the news, because this is something that ties in really well right now. So we'll go into teachers news.
From classrooms to chaos, we searched high and low for the craziest teacher stories this week. Here are your teachers in the news.
All right, teachers in the news. Coming out of North Carolina, here's a very interesting article. And this is, teachers, you need to be aware that there may be some legal standings on you putting children at risk, whatever your stance may be. In North Carolina, every school district in North and South Carolina is taking a different approach to COVID-19. Okay. State laws have affected policies for masks and vaccinations. So when it comes to teachers, I know that Dr. Fauci this morning said that he believes teachers should be mandated to be vaccinated. And a lot of people disagree with that. And a lot of people agree. But there was an interesting poll. Can parents sue if their child gets sick from an unvaccinated teacher? What do you think, Greg?
It depends on who your lawyer is.
This is in North Carolina. Can they sue if your child comes home sick with COVID-19, winds up in the hospital, or spreads it around your family, and you find out the teacher's not vaccinated, choosing not to wear a mask? What?
I don't think that you could.
Can you sue?
I don't think you can.
A lawyer in North Carolina has presented this case and said, yes, you can. That you have a legitimate chance of actually winning this case. Apparently, this lawyer said that, the Delta variant is extremely contagious, more contagious than the original variants. And he said the answer to the question is yes. The North Carolina Supreme Court said that if you negligently transmit a disease onto someone else, you can be held liable under regular rules of negligence in North Carolina for that. It means if you're not following what the law calls for, or ordinary care, meaning reasonable care, such as getting a vaccination to help protect yourself and those around you, you can be held liable for monetary damages as a result of that. That's interesting, because that puts a lot of pressure, not only because the teacher could be sued, but that puts the school system in the targets as well. And then school systems are going to go, no, well, we're not going to pay up for that. School systems are, when they start to see lawsuits on the horizon, they change their tune dramatically. So I don't know if that's going to change their tune dramatically, but it is kind of something to think about. If you're a teacher, and you're not vaccinated, every precaution has got to be taken, not only for your safety, but the kids' safety as well. And now possibly legal repercussions, so it's just something to think about. Yes.
Yeah. Cover your mouth.
Yeah.
When you sneeze, teacher. That just kind of aches me.
On to the next one. This one's an interesting one, and I'm going to post this. I think I have it right in the comments here. I'm going to try to post it in the comments. If you're on Facebook, you should be able to see it in just a second. But okay. Hopefully it'll post. In San Diego, a teacher was moving, and apparently moving across the country. And apparently the moving company got into a wreck, and the actual truck with all of her belongings in it flipped over several times and caused a complete and total loss of everything she owns.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, the insurance said that they will cover roughly $6,000 of her belongings, even though she estimates the worth to be around $25,000 worth of her belongings.
Oh.
And so she said that apparently that the driver's insurance company is going to hopefully, take care of some of that, but she doesn't know. And right now she has no belongings. So there is a GoFundMe. I just posted the link on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on Facebook on the live stream. This is, teachers, and they need our help. And right now they've raised $2,000 of a $20,000 goal. There are pictures on there, and let me post a picture, bro. This is crazy to me. Crazy to me. This is a picture of the actual crash. So look at this. Look at this, man. Isn't that insane?
Oh, man.
I mean, like, all the belongings completely ruined. Look at that truck.
Dude, I've got to do this very soon.
I mean,
I've got to go from Texas to here with all the stuff that I grew up with, all the furniture I inherited.
Yeah.
That scares me just seeing that.
I hope
Bless
that
her
the
heart.
driver's okay, too. Nobody said anything about the driver. I mean, moving truck messed up here, but that's not a walk away crash. That whole cabin is destroyed. I hope.
Was mom driving? I mean,
no, it was a moving company. So entire contents of their 3-bedroom home is a total loss, and the movers give her a claim of 6 cents a pound. Okay, let this also be another lesson. If you are moving, check that insurance first. Maybe buy some other additional liability insurance, because especially if you're moving across country.
6 cents a pound. I had 5 gold bars in there. What happened to them?
Do you realize that makes my 62-inch flat screen TV worth about 85 cents? I mean,
I know how much 6 cents a pound, and how much is it weigh?
Well, I can also tell you this. If it really is 6 cents a pound insurance, then when they move me next time, I'm going to be moving some cinder blocks that I just so happen to find.
Sandbags.
And I want them all on the left side of the truck. I don't trust them on both sides, just the left, and just then it rolls and they think, oh, what happened? I don't know, but there was 42,000 pounds of stuff in there. Okay. I mean, somebody's got to pay up.
No,
my entire library of bowling balls. I don't know.
You have 100-pound weights in each drawer of your dresser. They're like, oh my God, this is a heavy dresser. Be careful. 6 cents a pound. I don't want y'all to damage it.
Oh, guys. Hey, that trash can full of cement. Listen, that one
I'm an artist. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, I posted the GoFundMe on Facebook. Hopefully people can give her, $5 or so.
At least get her life back. Cause I mean, if everybody donates $1, we'll donate something.
Oh yeah, I'll put something out there.
Yeah.
All right, we got a retired Brecksville Broadview Heights teacher and his student are writing and illustrating books. That's a pretty cool one. Jill Gets a Brother is the first book published by a retired teacher, illustrated by his former student who graduated in 1999 from the high school from one of his history and sociology classes. They've maintained contact over the years. He's a great artist, and they got together and put the books out. So Jill Gets a Brother, only 120 copies have been sold so far. It's really honestly just a local thing. Proceeds, though, from the book, this is the best part. This is where teachers are just so awesome. He writes this book, illustrates it with his former student, and all proceeds from the book go to animal shelters and sanctuaries.
That's awesome.
That is really, really cool. So if you're looking for the book, it is apparently in local stores, but also on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is called Jill Gets a Brother. It's got pretty cool looking illustrations and stuff too. I mean, the guy's pretty talented, and it's all about a dog and a Jill, and the guy's daughter's named Jill, and wrote after his family. So, anyways, another one that I'd like to say to talk about: teacher survives COVID-19, urges people to get vaccinated. I've seen a lot of stories online of people that got COVID, were not vaccinated, and then they try to tell you, hey, come on, and those, some people go, oh, that's propaganda, look at this, look at that. This teacher was 42. His name's Mr. Beard, and he's got a big long beard. He's a PE teacher in great shape, 42 years old, running, athletic, etc. He's been in a medically induced coma and survived out of COVID after a 72-day battle. He got COVID right as they were about to offer vaccinations for him and his wife, and apparently had to be intubated, had to be put into a medically induced coma. Still even to this day, he had to have a walker, had to have an oxygen machine outside of school, outside of school, outside of the hospital, and still is not himself. it's insane, right? I mean, honestly, what this guy, and this wasn't even the Delta variant. This is, the old fashioned, the OG Cove, and it got him in 72 days. Healthy individual, teacher, 42 years old. But he's saying, "Hey, get vaccinated. Look what I went through. I wasn't vaccinated. If I could have, he would have. But he did survive COVID-19. They did a big fundraiser for him. 72 days. He said that he doesn't remember anything. He's apparently went into the hospital right before the Bucks won the Super Bowl. Was a big Bucks fan, and woke up and they said they won the Super Bowl, and he was like, "Oh, I've died." There's no way, And apparently, they.
Oh my God, dude! I wouldn't have told him. I'd been like, "Hey, well, I got it on video for you, the whole thing. Just are you ready?"
Listen to listen to this. He lost 50 pounds, lungs collapsed twice, put on a ventilator, a feeding tube, and a lung bypass machine. He's got 2 kids, and they just worried every day they wouldn't see him again. Man, so sad. But he's from Florida, and hopefully he's doing better. It says he is. I don't know if he's going back into the classroom or not, but we'll see. This one's interesting. Teachers, be careful what you post on social media, because I get that there's a lot of anger out there. I get there's a lot of frustration, but some of the stuff can definitely get you in trouble. A teacher posted online today, saw the exemption form today. So this is the exemption form for masks that he's talking about. It requires doctor's signature, phone number, etc. I just hope they get verified. So basically saying you're vaccinated, whatever you had, you can or cannot wear a mask. Maskless students, he posted this online. Maskless students will sit in the back of my class as far away from me and the mask students as possible. Extra credit for wearing a mask too. I also need a list from admin of opted out students. Otherwise, they will wear a mask in my class, IDGAF. So this person obviously is heated that maskless students are going to be in his classroom. And posted those frustrations online. I get it. We have a lot of frustrations, but you got to be aware this one is now facing some disciplinary action because, saying you're going to give extra credit to students that wear masks, that's starting to overstep the line where a lot of these kids do not have a choice because of their family, what they're being raised under. It has to do a lot with the parents, and you're punishing the kid for the parents, decisions, and you just got to be careful, man. What you're posting online. And I get it. And I understand this guy's feelings entirely. And I completely understand them posting about it. And the thing is I can see already in the post that there's a lot of heart emojis, like people to other teachers reacting to it. Yeah, I agree. This is, dangerous. We're trying to save the kid. And keep in mind, teachers, their first, concern is the well-being of the students. I mean, even before their actual education, are my students in my classroom safe? Are they being cared for? And so I get that mentality. Just know that there are a lot of parents out there that read this stuff and are just ready to fire off a lawsuit or an email. They love that stuff. They live off this. So just be aware what you post online. Some of it can get you in trouble, for sure. And the last thing I want to talk about, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
yeah,
idiots.
Last thing I want to talk about, and this is an interesting one. I'm glad somebody wrote this article. I'm going to post the article link on Facebook right now too, if you're watching the Facebook Live. If you are listening to the broadcast of this on the podcast, you can go to my Facebook page and see the Facebook Live, and the link should be at the top. This one is an interesting topic that we haven't really just talked about. By the last period of the day, I'm exhausted and I am not alone. I'm a great teacher before lunch, but a mediocre one later in the day. Man, oh man. I mean, I've got a sweet spot when I teach. I've got a sweet spot. I already know it. I already know exactly when I've got the sweet spot, because I would have 7 periods in a day. One of them would be hopefully planning. First period is a guinea pig period. I'm trying out my lesson that day. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you can come into my class second period for the exact same class, and you're not getting the same lesson. Some of my students are tired. Sometimes I'm exhausted. Class starts at 7:00 in the morning, which is stupid, by the way. If we're ever going to talk about class starting times, that's the first thing that needs change in the school system, because kids can't concentrate, especially high school kids. 7:00 in the morning, I'm exhausted. They're exhausted. Things aren't getting done. There's stuff that's happening, sometimes testing, sometimes kids getting called down, sometimes kids are late, walking in with breakfast, whatever. First period is a wash. And I hate to say it, I try my best, but man, oh man, I just know it's not going to be my best period of the day. Second period is better. Third and fourth are the stride. I mean, like, you're in the marathon and you are on pace. You've got the water, your body's kicked into that gear, and you're ready to go. Later in the day, after lunch is a nightmare. Right after lunch, let me tell you right now, is chaos because the kids are like hopped up on chocolate milk, and they just got to see all their friends and walk around, and man, now they're out of class mentality. They're into socializing mentality. Then after that period, their food starts to digest and the day catches up with them. And the last period of the day, myself and them are tired. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm stressed. They're burnt out. Too many subjects in a single day, by the way. No kid should go through 7 classes in a day. You need to narrow the focus down. Trying to learn 7 different things in a day and remember everything and restart and kick in.
Do they not do
work?
Block scheduling?
Sometimes they do block scheduling. Sometimes they do, but a lot of these schools don't. And the block scheduling is even worse because then you've got a class that's really energetic right after lunch and then starts to fall off quick. And but this teacher kind of said, this is the pattern. I don't know how you combat that. Do you change it up? Like, hey, this week we're doing first, second, third, fourth period. Next week we're doing second, third, fourth, first period. The next week we're doing third, fourth, first, second period. Like rotating them. How would you even combat that?
That's how my school was growing up. We had block scheduling in high school.
Yeah, but how do you change the blocks to where like kids are walking into math at 7 o'clock in the morning and being expected to do calculus off the top of their head?
Oh no,
and some kids are getting calculus third period when the teacher's in their stride and they're wide awake and they're, feeling better and they're, so do you feel like you're getting the same education at 7 o'clock in the morning that you are at 10 o'clock or that you are at 3 o'clock?
I don't know. They don't give that option. This is Texas I'm talking about. Get your crap together, kids.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting debate because this teacher says, I am a great teacher before lunch. She says, I put a genuine smile on my face. I greet my students as if I have the perkiness usually reserved for a morning television host. I'm a hi, how are you? Everything's good. Everything's fine. Then she has a 24-minute lunch. After the 24-minute lunch, she says, it is just downhill. I am drained. I am mentally exhausted. I have depleted all my efforts to be the best teacher I can be. I am mediocre.
That's why they have coffee. And honestly, like some of these schools should get sponsored by Red Bull. You know,
realize you're literally asking somebody to drug up themselves in order to do their job. You realize caffeine's a drug. Like people just go, oh, just have coffee. Oh, just give myself drugs to get through the day and manipulate my brain. And
I told Angelina, I was like, take a melatonin and go to bed.
It says she regains her energy with a brain break. They get up, stretch, do some light exercises to get the heart rate up. Then it's back to grinding it out for the middle of the day because they're tired and I'm tired. Interesting. And again, she says she has same arguments I do. In a perfect school, teenage students wouldn't have to wake up so early for class. Agreed. The start times, we'll talk about that later, but start times are not good. Every class would start off with meditation and deep breathing. There would be brain breaks and technology breaks throughout the day. Self-paced learning would be more of the norm. That's kind of the Montessori method. And so I don't know, man. But I have heard, that doing exercises throughout the day, I don't know, maybe, and this is just me, maybe we should have some sort of physical activities, throughout the day. In between third and fourth period class, the kids got to go run a lap. I don't know.
I had teachers that would sometimes be like, all right, everybody get up. Let's stretch real quick. Let's move around. Or, hey, after you're done with the test, go outside, and stretch your legs or whatever. Miss McGee, I'll never forget this teacher, Miss McGee in the fourth grade. like after the late afternoon, you know, you got like an hour left, you know.
So she would do that. It
and
worked.
she would make us get up and like roll our heads and, you know, do like not jumping jacks, but, you know, kind of like a stretch up.
Yeah, that works.
Do little circles, big circles with your arms. Yeah. God bless her, man. I hope she's still kicking because she was a fun teacher.
Teacher says she could not teach kindergarten without her caffeine. Got to have as much energy as they do. Do brain gym stretches to reset our brain. Interesting.
Don't over caffeinate in the morning. That's the worst thing you can do is go tired, get as far as you can into your day, and then caffeinate to finish it out.
I find caffeine more of a habit than a crutch. Maybe I'm wrong, but I sometimes have coffee and it doesn't necessarily make me feel better. It just is like, oh, I'm, you know, a coffee. It just, I feel more calm. But let me say this. So, we had a teacher that would do the same thing you did. It was in high school. It was in my U.S. history class at O'Galley High School. At she'd go, all right, guys, let's go walk the track. Get our brain ready. You know, get our brain. We would walk the track. And at first I was like, well, this is good. I feel better, you know? And then it's like, it got hot. And I'm like, why the hell are we out here? And then it was like raining one day and it blew her cover because it was like raining. And she's like, oh, you know, it's a good time to go outside and exercise. And we're all like, no, it's not really. It's a terrible time. She had us walking in the rain on the track. And then I spotted her underneath the bleachers smoking a cigarette. It was all for her cigarette break. It was never for us. It was just so she could go smoke a cigarette. And
she needed to get a crutch to finish out the day.
Every single day at our time, she would go out. She'd say, let's go outside and walk the track real quick. And we'd go out there and she'd just be under the bleachers like, these damn kids, you know, and it was great.
I picked the wrong week to stop smoking.
I just remember I had a really interesting time. So I came from a college prep school and went to a public school, and I was way ahead of the curve. So much so that the very first day of math class, I was like, oh, I'm well above this level that this guy's teaching. And he saw my first few assignments come in, and he was a baseball coach, and he would make me teach the class. I got up in front of the class and I was on the overhead showing them how to work out problems. And he was over on the computer watching game tape. And he would do that almost every day. I never got paid for it. I was literally in 10th grade showing classes how to do this.
On the job training. Yeah.
Right. And then I went to U.S. history class, and I'll never forget. She goes, Mr. Siebold, or Devin Siebold, she goes, you did so good. She goes, you're getting the Student of the Month award. And I was like, oh, cool. And she goes, you realize you're the only student I've ever had that did not get anything below a 100 on anything at all that I've handed out. Like every test, every quiz, every prep, every question, every writing assignment, I was the only one that got 100. And then, and this is me humble bragging, I'll never forget too, the principal is walking through the halls, and he had like a microphone thing, and he was doing some announcements, and it was during a bomb threat. So we were like off to the side. He was trying to do the end of the day announcements, you know, hey, buses are here, but and he's reading off a paper, and he goes, also, he goes, our Florida FCAT scores are in, and Florida Right scores are in. He goes, we did great. Everybody did well. And for Florida Rights, we even had a perfect score. We had a perfect score here in this school. And he goes, so, congratulations to them. And I was like, oh, I wonder who it is. And I walked up and I was like, hey, who got the perfect score? He's like, Devin Siebold. And I was like, oh, me. He goes, you? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you got the perfect score? I said, yeah. He goes, it's the only one in the county. I said, really? I got the perfect score? He goes, yeah. He goes, I had to sign a paper that they could use my essay as an example. Like future kids taking this Florida Rights were like using, reading the stuff that I wrote. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Made not a big deal of it at all. Didn't get a donut, nothing. Just, hey, cool. Only kid in the county. Neat.
Hey, you remember you were talking about suing your teachers?
I know, right?
I would be like, hey, I never signed anything. You're using that as a teacher. I want paid.
Right.
How long y'all been doing this? You're still doing it? Oh.
Rhonda, thanks so much for the stars. And those of you that are watching, if you'd like to submit some stars, thank you. If you're not watching the live, you're watching the rebroadcast, you can submit stars. If you're listening on the podcast, patreon.com/cryinginmycar for bonus episodes, early releases, and tour announcements as well. I've just posted my dates at the bottom of the screen, but just so you know, this Thursday, I will be in Winter Haven at Tanner's Lakeside. August 25th through 29th, I will be at Port Charlotte. And September 10th, Sunrise, Florida. September 27th through 29th, The Villages. I'm going to be there with you.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing the Villages with me?
Yeah, that's fun.
And then October 15th through 16th in Ocala. And October 21st through 24th, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Going to be fantastic. That's a great room up there. So anyways, devincomedy.com for upcoming tour dates. Also, devincomedy.com for new merch. A lot of the stuff is back in stock. And what do you got coming up, Mr. Parrott?
I finally have some recordings for Made in America now that
Kids are back in school?
Yeah, kids are back in school, and COVID and COVID tracing. This has been a nightmare, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've got my merch coming up too.
Awesome.
All my COVID sucks drink up shot glasses. Be ready to order those.
You thought for a second that they were going out of style, and now they're right back.
I know. Right, I was like, oh wait, it's still going.
Oh, God, it's terrible.
I know.
You're like, COVID may be here, but so is my money.
Yeah. That's but plus, I mean, these shot glasses. Think if you have one in your family 100 years from now, and it says COVID sucks drink up. Like somebody, your great grandchild's going to look at that and be like, man, grandma, tell me a story. And okay, let me get the fireball.
I'll tell you right now, man, even if aliens come and attack us, you know, there's going to be a roadside stand of I survived the alien invasion. Just people are always looking to turn, capitalism. And anyways, COVID capitalism. Go for it, I guess. So it is what it is. Thanks, man. Thanks to everybody that's supporting the podcast. And we'll be back next week. Yes, sir. You got something else?
I want to give a shout out to all the special needs teachers that are out there, all the dropout recovery teachers that are out there, all the teachers that inspire the students that are on the edge of giving up. Keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring others. You're helping create great lives. Keep pushing through, and keep pushing through kids that are listening to this. They're like, hey, I don't have a shot in life. You do. There's a teacher out there that's ready to listen to you and ready to help you out. So keep pushing through, everybody.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers.
Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast 5 stars. Submit all your awesome teacher stories to cryinginmycar@gmail.com. And check out Devin on tour. Info and merch can be found at devincomedy.com. Support the podcast on patreon.com/cryinginmycar and get exclusive weekly bonus episodes. And tune in every week for more hilarious stress relief for teachers right here on Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers.